Hello everyone, my name is Joe and welcome to another edition of Joe's Technology. Today I'm looking at the installation procedures for Windows Server 2012. Windows 2012 differs significantly, Windows Server 2012 I should say, differs from previous editions of Windows in several key ways. But here you're about to see one very obvious one right off the bat. Here, I'll go ahead and I'll leave the default since I'm in the United States. English for the United States is just fine, and a US keyboard. And I'll just go ahead and click install. One significant difference, there is only one architecture that's supported, which in this case is 64-bit. There is no 32-bit version of this operating system, and titanium processors are not supported. Also, Windows Server has consolidated down to basically two editions. The Standard Edition and the Data Center. You'll notice that, Enterprise is gone. That standalone web server one isn't here. Microsoft realized that it was very confusing. You're trying to figure out which server should I license, does it have the features that I want. So here you have a server for a work group and a server for a data center. So I'll go ahead and choose the data center edition, and as you can see we have two choices. The server core installation, which is just basically a command line interface. We're trying to be kind of like the Unix and Linux crowd. And a server with a graphical user interface. And I'll go ahead and just choose that. And I'll go ahead and accept the terms. Microsoft gets to make them up, and so we just have to abide by what their terms are. Again, this is the same setup that we've seen in other editions of Windows. It doesn't actually check. It's just offering us a silly upgrade even though the hard drive is blank. So I'll just go ahead and choose the Scary Custom Advanced feature since we're installing it fresh. And since the hard drive is completely blank, I can allow Windows to provision it any way that it wants to and begin to install the files. Now this will take a few minutes, so I'll go ahead and fast forward until we get to, there are going to be a couple of parts that I'll go ahead and include in the interest of completeness, and you'll see those here in just a minute. Okay, so our install is just about to finish up here, or rather it looks like it's about to. As it's basically just copying all the files to the hard drive and getting ready to set everything up. We still have to go through the typical Windows process of auto-detecting all the hardware, writing that to the registry, and going through a reboot. So it will actually reboot a couple of times before we actually make it to the desktop. However, so that nobody feels lost, I'll go ahead and go through the entire procedure, as arduous as it is. Okay, so now we're rebooting, and that's a pretty bland Windows logo now, huh? It used to be so colorful and wavy, and now it's just straight and bland. One solid color. Steve Ballmer's legacy there, folks. I'm curious to see how the next version of Windows, both the client and the server, turn out without his influence. This little thing with the little orbiting ball bearings kind of reminds me of the logo for Orion Pictures. If you remember that motion picture company, they're famous for movies like RoboCop or UHF, both great films. Of course, I've always been a Weird Al fan, so perhaps I look at it through rose-colored glasses. Now it looks like it was done, but ta-da! Here we go again. I'm just including this so that you're not surprised when it happens to you. I know it's about as much fun as watching paint dry, and if you want you can fast forward a little bit, but I'll go ahead and I'll record these screens so that nobody's surprised when they get them. Yep, it looked like it was doing something, and nope, it's time to reboot again. And after this, I think we have one more reboot to go anyway, so it'll be a little bit before we reach that desktop. Again, we have our bland Windows logo and our orbiting ball bearings. And that'll appear, disappear, come back again, and then it'll be time to choose an administrative password. And it looks like it's done, but no, it's not done. Yep, here we go. It's almost like the hokey pokey. I put the window in, I put the window out, I put the window in, and I shake it all about. Yes, I know you're terrified by my singing voice, so I won't torment you any further, but that's about as bad as it gets. And again, like I said, I could cut all of this out, but in the interest of showing everybody exactly what to expect, I went ahead and left it in. Now you'll notice that the administrator name is grayed out. You'll be able to change your username later, but for the default, it just stays administrator. So I'll go ahead and choose a password. Whoops. So this is the local administrator account for this new server. Okay, and so that was the last setting. And now it's time to reboot again. Eventually. Eventually, Windows, come on. Wow, this takes a while. Finally. Okay, so here we are at the desktop, and you thought my singing was the bad part of the video. Oh no. Windows 2012 is the first Windows Server operating system to include, if you guessed it, this screen should look very familiar if anybody's been using Windows 8. Metro. Metro is on the server. I don't know why, but Microsoft thought that was a great idea. Okay, sorry guys, you'll notice the time change there on the clock. The phone rang and I had to go take a call. Okay, so to log in, it's Control-Alt-Delete. Whoops, I gotta press the right button here. And so we can put in our administrator password. And, well, like I said, here's the bad news. You thought my singing was the bad part of the video. Oh no, it gets worse. Metro. Wonderful. On a server. Now, the good thing, I suppose, if you can call it that, whoops, oh yeah, see, we have the charms and all the other nonsense, so it's all here. Oh, and this is our new server manager, but by default, Windows Server 2012 will boot to the desktop. Whereas, Windows 8 users are forced into Metro. I believe in 8.1 they're going to allow them to boot straight to the desktop, but that hasn't been released yet. I know it's been released to manufacturer, but nobody should currently have it. So by default, we come up here to our server manager dashboard, and as you can see, here's where we would configure to choose what roles the server is going to have, because right now it doesn't have anything. We've got our basic file and storage, our local server manageability, and other good stuff. So we haven't chosen a role yet to decide what it is that the server is going to do. However, before we get started here, I'll go over a couple of quick little things. You're probably wondering, oh no, how do I find stuff in this darn Metro interface? Well, in order to find the stuff like, for example, notice there's no My Computer or My Server, where we used to right-click on that and get a lot of administrative manageability. Now you can just press the Windows key and the letter X, and you'll be able to get to all these management features here that were here before that you're used to using. Additionally, let's see here, I'll bring up, when you hit the Windows key by itself, you bring up the wonderful Start menu, and as you mouse over here to the right, you'll notice this little minus sign appears in the lower right-hand corner. Mouse over that, and that brings up our Charms bar, so we're able to search, go back to the Start, or hit Settings. And that's where we have some additional things in here. Unfortunately, as you've probably seen some people mention, some of these things are just icons and some are actual clickable stuff, and it's not very clear which is which, so it's a bit of a pain. Oh, if we wanted to shut down, this is where we would do it. So as you can see, we have restart and shutdown. Okay, well, this now that we have Server 2012 installed, that's where this video stops. And I'll go ahead and pick it up in my next video as we start to choose out various roles for Windows Server 2012 and see how they work out. Enjoy.